Severe season is well underway with tornadoes, hail, high winds, and rain in the forecast as far as the eye can see. Plus, a serious situation is shaping up for the Tennessee and Ohio valleys tomorrow afternoon and evening. I'll have all the details. We'll take a quick look at the long range and much more as the 12 days of severe weather kicks off right now. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cold Rain's Weather World, the only feel-good weather show that leaves you smarter, more confident, and stronger. And yes, that is true because some of our members work out while they watch the show. So feel free to do that too. But we've got a lot to unpack today. We've got a severe weather threat starting this afternoon in portions of Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma. That threat shifts east tomorrow, and a rather serious situation is shaping up potentially over the Ohio and Tennessee valleys with strong long track tornadoes possible. We're going to take a look at that. The threat shifts east again on Monday, and then the threat is renewed back in the plains and back toward the Mississippi Valley again as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. So we've got severe weather as far as the eye can see. We're going to get into all of that. We're going to start, as we always do, with our IQ weather question of the day. I told you you're going to be smarter by the time you leave this channel. And here is our weather IQ question of the day. Which of the following is not an official scale of measurement? You need to think about this, okay? The Richter scale, the enhanced Fujita scale, the Saffir-Simpson scale, and the Beaufort scale. So think about that. If you know the answer, put it in the comments. If you don't know it, I will reveal it to you at the end of the show. So we're going to start here with our Storm Prediction Center outlook map. This is for day one, so we've got a slight risk. And so what does that mean? We've got 2% chance of seeing tornadoes within 25 miles of a point. So we're not really looking at a high tornado threat. Wind, 15%. Hail is the more serious threat out here this afternoon. So this hatched area, we could see significant hail of 2 inches in diameter or greater. So that's what we're looking at this afternoon. There's going to be some instability here. There's going to be some capping in place, but certainly storms that break through the cap are going to have plenty of fuel and be able to grow tall and produce hail and potentially some wind gusts too. So that's what we're looking at for this afternoon. Tomorrow, the enhanced threat is still in effect. This came out yesterday with the enhanced threat. That is still in effect. There is some debate about whether or not to upgrade this to a moderate threat. So we'll see how that shakes out as the day wears on. The tornado threat is higher tomorrow with the potential for significant tornadoes. Anytime you see this black hatched area, that is indicative of an environment that is ripe for potentially significant tornadoes. These are tornadoes of EF2 or higher, and they could be long track tornadoes as well. And so there are some modeling scenarios that show more instability and a couple of models that show a little bit less instability. I'll show you why that is in a few minutes. The wind threat tomorrow is the highest of all of the threat types. We could see significant winds in this hatched area, 30% chance of seeing severe wind within a point, within 25 miles of a point rather, and we could see gusts over 70 miles per hour tomorrow as winds, the thunderstorms organize. Hail is also a pretty substantial threat too, 30% chance with significant hail possible tomorrow. So we've got a large area to watch tomorrow. As we get into Monday, that threat shifts east. There is a possibility that this could be upgraded to an enhanced risk too. That's going to depend on instability. And then as we get on to day 4, which is Tuesday, we see a severe weather threat returning back to the place that it's at today, out here over Missouri and Kansas and Iowa, Nebraska, not quite into Oklahoma, but maybe that'll change as the day wears on or the weekend wears on. And then we've got another fairly significant chance of severe weather next Wednesday. So it's a very, very active pattern here, folks. So a lot to pay attention to. You need to be prepared, particularly if you're in the lower and mid-Mississippi valleys, stretching up into the Ohio and Tennessee valleys into the Great Lakes. So you guys are under the gun for several days. You might get a break or two here and there, but be prepared. Now, if we take a look at what's kind of driving all of this, we look here at our upper level map. We always look at our upper level map to see what kind of energy is up there so that we can understand what's going on. And you see these little areas of vorticity. We talked about vorticity in yesterday's show, and we learned that those are areas of spin that create lift. And we have lift aloft and divergence aloft. You have air rising at the surface that creates clouds and precipitation. So these little red and orange areas are areas of spin, and you see this sort of broad trough develop over the next couple of days. This is this afternoon, and watch what happens here. You get this sort of this broad southwesterly flow ahead of this trough here, and this creates, as we go into Sunday afternoon, all of this divergence aloft, nice flow out of the southwest, and you get storms, and that shifts off to the east coast, and you have this other little wave here in the jet stream that comes east on Monday, creates lift over the southeast, and again, instability, lift, thunderstorms. Okay, so that's your severe weather outlook. And as we go on down the line, we have another big trough coming in next Tuesday and Wednesday, divergence and lift out ahead of that trough. And that just continues to exist and persist out here in the desert southwest. It'll eventually move to the east, but that is your focus. Look at the strong southwesterly winds coming out of the Gulf and southwest or southeast Pacific rather, and bringing all kinds of moisture up in here. So we're not going to be lacking moisture. We're not going to be lacking instability for the most part. We're going to have plenty of upper level features to keep us busy over the next couple of days. So our temperatures this afternoon, surging well up into the 60s, 70s, and 80s across the southern tier into the Great Lakes. You can see here Dallas at 81, Wichita Falls near 80, Kansas City near 80, 79 there, 68 in Memphis, Charlotte 75, Atlanta looking at 72. So we're some of these areas here in the mid-south up into the Tennessee Valley here, we're looking at a little bit of rain and cloud cover, some shower activity, and that could keep temperatures down here. But Raleigh at 76, Richmond 79, Pittsburgh 75. So we got plenty of warm air in the warm sector down here, just building up. Cold up in the northeast, still below freezing. That air is cold air is just stubbornly hanging on up here north of the boundary. Chilly through the Great Lakes and into the northern high plains, back to the into the northwest. Precipitation, rain, and showers and clouds continue to hang on out west. Chilly tomorrow up across the northern tier. Still plenty of warm air down here in Texas and the desert southwest. And in our warm sector tomorrow, we've got 70s all the way, mid 60s all the way up into the Great Lakes, and then 70s up and down the eastern seaboard, 80s as you get down into the deep south. And then on Monday, we've got cool air pushing in behind that cold front. We're going to cool down and dry out a little bit. Warm air surging up ahead of that front along the east coast. So plenty of 60s and 70s, plenty of low-level warm air. Dew points are surging up. So we're going to see instability build up in these areas and hang, and then warm temperatures kind of hang on down here, although they cool back a little bit as we get into Monday. And so that is your temperature roundup and your upper air pattern. Now we're going to take a look here in just a second at the severe threat that's on tap for this afternoon over the next 3 days. And then we're going to peek at our long range. We're going to wrap up with a quick look at North Carolina weather. I'm from North Carolina, and so I'm going to do a special North Carolina forecast today and just show you what the weather looks like over the next 5 days. But anyway, I put timestamps to all of this in the video description so you can skip right ahead to where you need to go. I meant to say that earlier. But I wanted to tell you one sort of a little weather fun fact here. I don't know if you know this or not, but it's about lightning and the sun. Lightning is extremely hot. The sun is extremely hot. Intuitively, you would think, hey, you know what? The sun is the hottest thing around, man. Wouldn't want to be near that, and you wouldn't want to be near that for sure. You also don't want to be near lightning, but do you know that lightning can be as much as 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun? A lightning bolt can reach 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So anybody that has getting struck by lightning fantasies, don't do it. You get burned up pretty quick. And so 50,000 degrees, that is pretty hot, folks. And if you want to know the temperature of the sun, just divide that by 5. And if you come up with anything less than 10,000 degrees, then we're going, anything different than 10,000 degrees, rather, we're going to do a math show here. So that is, our next show is going to be about math. So that is your fun fact for today. Now, let's take a look this afternoon at our dew points and get back to our severe weather threat. So what we're doing here is we're looking at dew points. We need dew points. We need warm temperatures, and we need cooling aloft and wind shear, or some kind of combination of those things in the right mix to develop severe weather. We've got plenty of dew points. A couple of weeks ago, we saw a little tiny little warm sector where we couldn't get any dew points in here. Well, we've got a big warm sector. We've got dew points surging this afternoon. This is about 11 o'clock this morning, and so we get on into the afternoon. Dew points surging up, and remember where our severe weather threat was. It was out here in the plains. So we're looking at Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma. You see that? Okay. So let's go back and look at our dew points and see where they're sort of lining up at. Right here, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, surging in as well. There looks to be a little bit more capping, and I'm not back on my display again. There we go. So you can see that what I was showing you is true. And then you have dew points down here. But down here, there looks to be a little less forcing and a little more capping of the atmosphere. So we may not see any thunderstorms break out farther south. That's still a question mark. Now, as we go through the evening, you can see those dew points, right? So they're surging in. There's plenty of good moisture coming in. So what does that mean in terms of instability for this afternoon? So we've got our instability map here, and we can see that sort of surge in as we get into the afternoon. And we start to see these CAPE values. CAPE is our measure of instability. We're up at over 1,000 joules of mixed layer CAPE in these areas that we're watching out for severe weather. And so we've got plenty of instability to work with, and we've got a little system in the upper atmosphere that we saw earlier. It's going to kick off showers and thunderstorms here. So that's our threat for this afternoon. Now, if we take a look at tomorrow, okay, so tomorrow is the bigger threat. Remember, our enhanced threat is for tomorrow. And we can take a look here and see it again. There it is. Covers a much greater area over here in the Tennessee Valley. So we're going to watch this area when we come back to our dew point and our CAPE maps, okay, and we're going to see what it shows. So here's our dew point map for tomorrow. Sunday, we're looking at late tonight into the overnight hours. Now we're at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, and look at this. We've got plenty of moisture coming in off the Gulf in that broad southwesterly flow, and you can see that just continuing to surge in tomorrow night, tomorrow evening. This is to 8 p.m. tomorrow Eastern time, and then we go on into the overnight hours, and you can still see that moisture persisting and shifting to the east. So what does that mean for instability? If we take a look here at our instability map for this afternoon into the overnight hours, you can see that start to increase as we get to tomorrow. Look at this. Now we've got plenty of oranges and reds. What are reds here? We can hover over it and see red is 3,000 joules per kilogram. That is on point for CAPE, folks. That is fully loaded. We'll call that fully loaded. We'll just see how that plays out tomorrow afternoon, but there's plenty of instability. We are loaded to the hilt with instability tomorrow evening. You can see that corridor of instability all the way into Wisconsin, and then that shifts, kind of wanes back down into the overnight hours and drops back into the lower Tennessee and lower Mississippi River valleys there. And then we're going to look at one other parameter here. This is our significant tornado parameter. This is one of the things that's kind of concerning. So this afternoon, this is actually for tomorrow morning. So we're lining up our best CAPE in the late afternoon and evening, and we're going to see how the significant tornado parameter unfolds. And anything over 1, and you can see these blue areas are over 1, anything over 1 indicates the potential for significant tornadoes. Now we've got some 2s showing up here, and if we advance this along, this is tomorrow afternoon at 2, there's 5, there's 8 o'clock in the evening. So this is going to be a late afternoon, evening into the overnight hours threat again. And you can see some really high values here, 3s and 4s showing up. So there is a potential for tomorrow for significant tornadoes. There is some question. There's a little system that's moving along to the south of kind of the main area that has some showers and light, minimal thunderstorm activity with it that could potentially work over the atmosphere a little bit down here in the Tennessee Valley, upper Mississippi, upper Alabama area. And if it does, it could limit some of the instability. If that happens, the tornado threat would be diminished. If it does not happen, if we continue to get a nice southwesterly flow and feed of moisture to replenish the atmosphere, for lack of a better term, then you will see a significant, tornado threat evolve in these areas, and you could see some of those areas upgraded to a moderate risk. So the SPC is looking out for that. We go on through tomorrow night. Toward Monday morning, the significant tornado parameter continues to show up down here. So at least we have the potential for significant tornadoes. And lastly, we're going to look at how this unfolds Monday over toward the East Coast, Georgia, South Carolina, the Carolinas, Virginia, up into Pennsylvania. So looking at Monday overnight into Monday morning, Plenty of moisture coming in, even some of the 50s with the wind shear in place would do the trick. And so we're looking at the question mark in the northern end of all of this is instability. Will there be enough instability here? And so we'll have to see, but plenty of moisture surging up there. It looks like 60s get up into Pennsylvania. We're looking at Monday afternoon, Monday on into the late afternoon and evening hours. Plenty of moisture ahead of this front. Will there be a line of showers out ahead of the front, removed from the best forcing? That could downplay the severe weather threat. So we're watching that and seeing, but it looks like the line, if it's all elongated along the front, that's where the best forcing is going to be. It'll make best use of the atmosphere and create the best risk of severe weather. But we're looking at high winds here, potential for tornadoes, and particularly in the south part of this. So I'm going to use my little pen here and I'll draw a line for you. But anywhere from like southern mid-Atlantic, let's do pink. Anywhere from southern mid-Atlantic here down into eastern Alabama, northern Florida, Georgia. This is the area where you could see really an all hazards type event. Hail, winds, tornadoes, maybe some significant tornadoes here. Above that area up here and a little bit farther to the north where there's a little less instability, we could end up seeing a little less in the way of tornadoes and maybe more of a hail and sporadic wind threat. So those are things that we'll keep our eye on. It's still 3 days away, so there's a lot to look at. As we get the next couple of days, we'll know more. But then looking at your Cape, so we're looking at Cape here again, and so that evolves Sunday night and goes on off into Monday. And you can see Monday, and let's go back, sorry. This is Monday afternoon. We're not seeing a ton of Cape here. High shear, low Cape environments, we see these a lot. So we're seeing enough though down here in the south, nearly 1,000 joules per kilogram. That's plenty. That's enough to get a severe weather event down here. And so a little bit less up north. That's what I was talking about before. So you can see how that plays out. And then that all pushes off Tuesday, and as the system sort of diminishes and moves off to the east. And then finally, the significant tornado parameter. So what does that look like for the threat area on Monday? So we go through the night on Sunday here, get on into Monday, and we don't see those orange and yellow colors anymore, but we still have a little bit of a threat here of significant tornadoes. You can see that blue area kind of pushing on in. As I hover over it, you can see the number there. So that is your tornado threat potentially for Monday, and that all pushes off east as we head through Monday night into Tuesday. So how does this all play out? So Sunday, this afternoon, we're starting to see showers, thunderstorms break out over Nebraska and into Iowa. And then the main threat area is here in Missouri, Oklahoma, Kansas. So as we get on into the overnight, you start to see those thunderstorms kind of break through. If thunderstorms can break out in Texas, there would be a severe weather threat here too. As we go through the day tomorrow, you can really see the activity start to pick up. This is in association with a little trough low pressure down here that's brought showers to Texas and had all that flooding back in Texas the other day. And then you can really see thunderstorms just explode over Illinois and start to get their act together. Some individual cells out here in front, out ahead. And then you can look here and you see this line really explode, and plenty of convective activity. This is Sunday evening, and we'll get on into the overnight period on Sunday toward Sunday 8 o'clock. And you see how everything kind of organizes kind of into a line. You still have some segments. So where there's segments, especially down here in the south, if instability is realized, we could really see a tornado threat kind of pick up there. Sunday night into Monday morning, we're looking at showers and thunderstorms ongoing over the deep south. And then they reinvigorate a little bit Monday afternoon along that line. It looks broken in nature, a little less organized, maybe some clusters of wind damage. If we can avoid supercells, we'll avoid the tornado threat out east, but I wouldn't write that off just yet. So we'll pay attention to that as we go along, and all that pushes off as we get into Tuesday. But look what happens. We get back into Tuesday of next week. We start to see the severe threat pop up Tuesday evening into the overnight on Wednesday, and we'll just roll this out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and so on and so on and so on. I'm on the 6Z run, which doesn't go out that far, but if we keep going, Friday, Saturday, look at all this just over and over and over along the deep south, and we see that threat continue and persist as we get into Wednesday and Thursday, April the 10th. We finally start to roll everything out of here. and maybe we'll get a quiet pattern. But as far as the eye can see, we're going to be dealing with some level of severe weather in this area here. So keep your eyes peeled, watch out, and stay tuned here to Cold Rain's Weather World, and we will talk all about it as we go out in time. Your snowfall, there's still snow going on up here in the northeast, really the northern New England and over into the Great Lakes, back into the high plains and Rockies. You can see up to an inch of snow, maybe in some cases 3 inches of snow. We've got the potential for that at least over much of those same areas over the course of the next 2 weeks. If we look at our precipitation footprint over the course of the next, really 2 weeks, I'll roll this all the way to the end. This is the European ensemble mean, folks, and we're seeing what we saw on the simulated radar earlier. Look at this. 10 inches of rain through parts of the lower Mississippi Valley up into the Ohio Valley. So lots and lots of rain in the entire eastern section of the country, through the northern and middle sections of the, maybe the high plains back into the Rockies, and then along the west coast where the storm systems are coming through. So this is a very, very active pattern. We're going to all stay busy. Plenty of rain hopefully can douse some of those wildfires that are burning here. And then out in the desert Southwest, not very much going on there. The next 6 to 10 days above normal in the east. Much of that's coming on the front end. We'll see a little chillier air come back in on the backside of that cold front. Below normal out in the Southwest, and then above normal rain for much of the southern portion of the country. And so hopefully we can get some some rain out here and where it's been very, very dry. We'll show the drought monitor another time, but looking at all of that, putting all that together, we're looking at above normal precipitation over the next 6 to 10 days with several bouts of severe weather to come. So an active pattern. Stay tuned here. We'll keep you covered here. And then we'll wrap up with North Carolina weather. So this afternoon, we're looking at a nice day up in the foothills. In the mountains, we're looking at the 70s. We get on into the Piedmont and coastal plain, highs in the 80s tomorrow. A little chillier in the mountains and a little chillier kind of statewide, except in the coastal plain, 70s and 80s. We bounce back in on Monday, bounce back up rather. And as that cold front works east, we're going to see temperatures rebound ahead of it and set the stage for potential severe weather. Tuesday's a very, very nice day. It's going to dry out and cool off, 60s and 70s for the state. And then we rebound as we get back into Wednesday and Thursday and Friday of next week. Starts to look rather hot here. And so if we look at precipitation, how that's going to unfold, day one today, some light rain and spotty showers in the western half or the western tip of the state. That's going to change tomorrow as we're in that broad southwesterly flow. We've got a couple of little disturbances coming in, and that's going to kick off a few showers here and there. It's not going to be a washout, so just keep your eye to the sky. If you've got outdoor plans tomorrow, enjoy those. Get out, have a good day, have fun, enjoy your Sunday. Monday is going to be a little bit of a different story, particularly as we get on in through the afternoon. We're looking at basically 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 of an inch statewide through much of the day Monday, and then as that front trails on out, overnight Monday into Tuesday, you folks down east will pick up some rain. But look out for showers, thunderstorms, severe weather on Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, we start to see rain creep back in. Wednesday and Thursday, a chance for a few spotty showers. So nothing major here. We don't look to have any severe weather in North Carolina after after Monday for a while, at least, and no freezes anytime soon either. And so as far as we can see that sort of displayed here on the surface map as we get into this afternoon. Very nice day across much of the state. Enjoy the afternoon. Tomorrow, it's going to be nice for the most part. We get into Sunday morning. Here's morning on Sunday. Then we get into the early afternoon, late afternoon. We don't see a whole lot of activity here, but you could see some clouds and some spotty showers, particularly in the western part of the state. And then look what happens on Monday. So Monday morning, we've got a line of storms back here in western Tennessee associated with that cold front. Monday afternoon, that line pushes into the western part of the state, breaks apart a little bit, and then it moves on through the eastern part of the state in the overnight hours Monday as the atmosphere cools down. So that might save folks down east a little bit from a really bad severe weather outbreak. We'll watch it and see. The timing is still a little bit iffy. That's your North Carolina forecast, and we're going to wrap up with today's Weather IQ question. So if we remember what our question was, it was, which of the following is not an official scale of measurement? The Richter scale, the enhanced Fujita scale, Saffir-Simpson scale, and the Beaufort scale. You may remember a few years ago, the enhanced Fujita scale used to be called the Fujita scale, but as they have determined how to better classify tornadoes based on damage, the change, the wind, as we've been able to measure wind speed better, the designation of it changed, and the values of the wind associated with the scale changed as well. Which of those are not a weather measure or a scale of measurement? And today I tricked you. It's a trick question. They all are. The Beaufort scale, as you may or may not know, measures the effects of the wind. So it was designed to really give mariners an idea of what the wind looks like based on what they're seeing, the observed, the observation of how the wind is blowing and what its effects are. So it not necessarily measured with they didn't, maybe didn't use anemometers for the Beaufort scale. They sort of looked at the effects of it, where the tree branches swaying, where twigs coming out, where big limbs falling down, or the tree branches or the trees falling over, that sort of thing. So it's kind of fun. We'll look at that one day, and I'll show you the scale. Saffir-Simpson scale, of course, measures hurricanes. Richter scale measures earthquakes. And so there are other scales too. Maybe we'll look at some of those. But that is your show for the day. Now you know about weather scales. Sorry to trick you, but it was an interesting little tidbit I wanted to share, especially about the Beaufort scale. We'll get into that sometime. But hopefully you know more about the weather and you're prepared for what's coming up over the next couple of weeks, the next week at least. So that's it for the day. This is cold rain, reminding you that if other stations run 24/7, we got you covered right here on Cold Rain's Weather World. 4814. All right, take care, everybody. Have a blessed afternoon.